Oh, that's right. 11,780 votes. If only someone was stupid enough. If only someone was stupid enough to be on a fucking recorded phone call. Fani Willis is finally doing something that is good with the fucking RICO statutes in the state of Georgia that isn't about arresting any and every rapper that has ever rapped about, like, killing someone. Let's take a look.
Georgia, where former President Donald Trump could face another indictment as soon as this week. Prosecutors in Fulton County are wrapping up their investigation into any alleged election interference there by Trump and his allies in 2020. Nicole Killian is outside the courthouse in Atlanta with more on what to expect. Nicole, good morning.
Good morning, Nate. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is expected to begin presenting her case as soon as today to a grand jury, which will face the big decision of whether to indict the former president.
This morning, there's an increased security presence outside the Fulton County Courthouse ahead of a potential charging decision this week. District Attorney Fani Willis says she's ready to go.
That if someone broke the law in Fulton County, Georgia, that I have a duty to prosecute.
CBS News has learned several witnesses have been subpoenaed to appear before the grand jury, including former Georgia Republican Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan, who plans to testify Tuesday. The investigation centers on a January 2nd, 2021 phone call by then-President Donald Trump to Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, seeking to potentially overturn the 2020 election.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
On his
Oh, yeah. Heightened law enforcement and media presence remains in place outside of Fulton County Courthouse in Atlanta, Georgia, as another grand jury indictment may be announced against former President Donald Trump. It's all media and cops right now. And I don't even think that there will be that many protesters, but who knows? Now, this one is my favorite, which is really awesome. This one is my favorite for a couple different reasons. Number one, we've known about it for a very long time. Number two, it's yet another situation where Donald Trump is like doing something criminal in the most like flagrant, obvious way possible, where he gives you the exact number, 11,780, a number that is now burned into the back of my brain. In his words, one more than we need. Like, there is a very different reality where, like, if Trump is ballparking numbers, like, you could at least make an argument that, like, he's just, you know, saying something exaggerated, right? He's just, he could, it's just a term of phrase or something like that. The fact that he's like mentioning the very specific number and not like 12,000 is incredible because it works against him. Now, those are some of my favorite reasons why I love this case. Some of my other favorite reasons for why I love this case, because it's very open and shut, unlike the other ones, or unlike the first state case. Now, this is the fourth one. There are three cases so far, 3 court cases so far. One is a local Manhattan district judge, which means it's a state prosecution. Okay. The second one is a federal prosecution. The third one is also a federal prosecution. So technically, Donald Trump could actually pardon himself. I mean, we're entering like speculative legal theory here because it's never happened. And will he be able to do that? I think he would, because he can still run from jail. He can still literally go to prison and become president. That part is definitely set in stone. Okay. But will he be able to literally pardon himself for federal crimes? Well, yes, he can. However, a president can't pardon themselves for state crimes, which means for the Manhattan one, whichever way it goes, doesn't really matter. It's a misdemeanor, slap on the wrist anyway. So that one is whatever. But for the Georgia situation, Donald Trump, in order to get a pardon in Georgia, would have to go to Brian Kemp, who he fucking despises. The only way for Donald Trump to get a pardon in the state of Georgia, if he was actually arrested in the state of Georgia and was thrown in jail and like somehow still magically won the election, he would literally have to go to Brian Kemp, who, for this criminal case, Brian Kemp and his refusal and other people underneath Brian Kemp's refusal to work with Donald Trump is why Trump thinks he lost the election. This court case is quite literally, this court case is like literally dependent on him not working with Brian Kemp. That's why it's there. Kemp can't solely pardon. It's a board that does it in Georgia. Oh, the Georgia governor can't pardon. There's a 5-person parole and pardon power with that panel. There's no pardon power. Fuck, that ruins everything. I thought that it was another one of these like I'm gonna fucking pardon states. God damn it. I mean, it's still funny. Last but not least, because this will most likely be televised. Unless you guys want to hurt my feelings on that one too. But I'm sure they will pardon him if he won. It's just like that. I think it would be really funny if there was a world where Brian Kemp was petitioning against Donald Trump being pardoned in the state of Georgia as the governor, with a tremendous amount of influence over his own state. Especially because Donald Trump has purposefully tried to run a candidate against Brian Kemp, and that candidate fucking lost. It's not like Donald Trump has been a fan of Brian Kemp at all for like the past couple of years now. Like, he has open contempt for him. He hates Brian Kemp. Also, this in Georgia. On the left, former President Trump intimidates the witness in Georgia case. On the right, Georgia law stating that to release a person on bail, the judge will have to find the defendant poses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses. Note, that is a presumption against release. Yeah, okay, let me explain something. It's not like Donald Trump is going to personally fucking intimidate a witness. He just shouldn't be able to tweet. Dude, they are not going to keep him in prison. Oh my God, that'd be so sweet if they did, though. Fuck!
Social platform Sunday, Trump continued calling it a perfect phone call.
We love Iowa.
At the Iowa State Fair, where the former president and supporters appeared to troll Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in the air and on the ground, he was peppered with questions about a possible fourth indictment.
Yes, we did nothing wrong. We don't ever take a plea. Yes, sir. We don't take plea deals.
Earlier this year, a special purpose grand jury said it believed perjury was committed by several individuals and recommended the DA seek appropriate indictments.
And you think there could be multiple indictments?
I think there'll be multiple defendants indicted.
Michael Moore is a former U.S. attorney and believes Willis could go further with racketeering charges against the former president and his allies.
It really allows her to talk about, as a prosecutor, everybody's dirty laundry and everybody's dirty conduct, and not just the dirty laundry maybe that the former president may have in his hamper right now.
If the former president...
Okay, if you're a lawyer with that accent, you contractually are obligated to say, well, I'm no big city lawyer now. Like, I'm sorry. I don't make the rules except for that rule I just made up. You have to do it. Like, I know, first of all, Atlanta is a big city. I know. But when you have an accent like that, you know, you have to say that. Well, I ain't no big city lawyer. Ho, ho, ho. This seems like a miscarriage of justice. I do declare. Yeah, cameras are allowed in the court. Yes, it's a state court. Yeah, Georgia judge says cameras will be allowed in court if Trump is indicted. I am going to nut, dude. I need to pay my respects to the big, beautiful state of Georgia. I'm going to be honest with you. I might have to go down there. Okay? I feel like it's giving me so much. I mean, it's just incredible. Georgia will give us a mugshot, and Georgia will give us a fully televised court proceeding. And I love that. Oh, also, this document outlining charges against Donald Trump was briefly published and then removed by the Fulton County GA District Attorney's Office, according to Reuters. I think they, like, accidentally leaked it or something. Is this real or is this fake, chat? Why do some courts allow cameras? A lot of courts allow cameras. What do you mean? It's actually rare that when courts don't allow cameras. The ones that don't. Oh, it is real. Georgia court website briefly publishes and removes documents about potential Trump charges. What the fuck? It's real. Yo! Trump's lawyer said the episode was not a simple administrative mistake. Let's take a look. Why is his date of birth crossed out? That's weird. Charges: Trump, Donald John. Description: violation of Georgia RICO, Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act. Level: serious felony. 5 charges of solicitation of a violation of oath by public officer, also a felony. 9 charges of conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer, also a felony. 11 charges of conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, also a felony. 13 charges of conspiracy to commit false statements and writings. 15 charges of conspiracy to commit filing false documents. 17 charges of conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. 19 charges of conspiracy to commit false statements and writings. 27 charges of filing false documents, which is also a felony. 28 charges of solicitation of violation of oath by public officer. 29 charges as charges for false statements and writings. Oh, okay. The numbers are page numbers. Okay, I was going to say, what the fuck? It seems like insane amounts of times that he's done it. Like, how do you do this 38 times? I this is fake. The DA came out and said it's fake. What? Why is Reuters covering it like as though it's real? Oh, the Reuters report that those charges were filed is inaccurate. Beyond that, we cannot comment. Beyond that, we cannot comment. Oh, okay. It is not real. It's not fake. It was found on the DA website. Okay. There's 2 different kinds of fake here. Fake as in some random person published this, or fake as in they accidentally published it, but it's not, the information is inaccurate. So that would imply that a lot of these charges probably are accurate. There most likely is additional charges or something that is not fully accurate in this. However, it did come from the DA's office, according to Reuters. It did come from the Fulton County, Georgia court website, which briefly posted the document on Monday, listing several criminal charges against former U.S. President Donald Trump that appeared related to his attempts to overturn his 2020 election defeat in the state. Before taking the document down without explanation, it's probably not finalized, which is part of the reason why they said, oh, well, this is not accurate. The Reuters report that those charges were filed is inaccurate. Beyond that, we cannot comment, they said. The grand jury is still taking witnesses, so Doc was released early. Update on MSNBC. The Fulton County grand jury is still hearing from witness number 5. They were hearing from witness number 5 more than 2 hours ago. That's 5 out of the expected 10 witnesses. This was at 2:15, 30 minutes ago today. So they are still doing the grand jury hearings, which means that, of course, they cannot file fucking charges before that. But it turns out it's not fake. It's just inaccurate. Remember, understand, that's an important distinction. Fake would imply that, like, they didn't post it, but they did actually post it. They did actually publish it and then deleted it.
The president is charged and convicted here in Fulton County, and he's reelected. He could not pardon himself since this would be a state case rather than a federal one.
All right, Nicole, Killian, thank you very much.
Fulton County DA Fani Willis is expected to call multiple witnesses as she wraps up her 2020 election interference case and seeks charges against possibly more than a dozen people. What's key to understand this morning? The nature of this case and the potential legal risks for Donald Trump this time around, and how that might be different than his last 3 indictments because these are state charges in part. CNN's Sarah Murray is live outside the courthouse. Sarah, all this activity that's happening inside.
I will be doing Aquawatch for this because he has glazed up Fani Willis so fucking hard when she was absolutely eviscerating YSL and Young Thug as a criminal organization, as he slapped them with the fucking fattest RICO charge of all time. DJ Academics routinely hyped her up to me in conversations. If he turns around and fucking shits on Fani Willis now to defend Donald Trump, that's white supremacy. I'm sorry, 100%, that's white supremacy. There is no other way to talk about the situation. If you like Donald Trump and you think Fani Willis is doing a great job arresting and hitting RICO charges on YSL in its entirety, but then turn around and shit on Fani Willis and think it's messed up that you are prosecuting Donald Trump for RICO, hitting Donald Trump and his entire operation with a RICO, if you have an issue with that, that's just white supremacy. Sorry. I haven't seen his statements on Fani Willis as of late. But if I hear a peep from him that defends Donald Trump in this situation, I'm sorry, white supremacy.
Donald Trump is posting brand new attacks against someone who was one of the witnesses. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, obviously what's going on in the courtroom today, in the courthouse today, is a grand jury presentation, and that's being done under seal. But the grand jury will be beginning to hear this case against Donald Trump and his allies today. As you pointed out, we confirm that there is one witness who is there to testify today. Our colleagues at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution have spotted 2 other potential witnesses testifying today. And even though Donald Trump has insisted he did nothing wrong around his efforts to overturn the 2020 election in Georgia, he has been lashing out on his social media platform, including against one of the witnesses who's expected to testify before this grand jury tomorrow, former Georgia Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan. Donald Trump took to his social media account to say he's reading reports that the failed Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, Jeff Duncan, will be testifying before the Fulton County grand jury. Trump goes on to say he shouldn't, and then he goes on to launch a number of other attacks against Duncan. Again, this grand jury presentation is expected to take up to 2 days, although, of course,
I don't get it. What's wrong? He had a perfect phone call, and now that's a perfect threat. A perfect phone call followed by a perfect tweet or truth or whatever the fuck they call it. What's the problem? It's so funny. Like, he can't stop further incriminating himself. There's literally another civil suit launched against him after he lost the former defamation suit. He continued to defame that lady in New York on a CNN town hall Like, it was right after the fucking defamation suit awarded, what was her name? Shit, I'm forgetting now. E. Jean Carroll. Thank you, chatter. E. Jean Carroll successfully sued Trump for defamation. And I think it was, what, a $5 million award? A day later, Trump is on a CNN town hall defaming her in the exact same capacity. He just can't stop himself. He's just like, I don't give a fuck.
We're going to be on high alert for any potential indictment announcements today or tomorrow. And this is a sprawling case. This has been a 2.5-year investigation that was set off when Donald Trump made that phone call to Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and pressed him to find the votes for Trump to win the state of Georgia. But it's gone on to include the fake elector scheme. It's gone on to include a harassment campaign against election workers, as well as a voting systems breach in rural Coffee County, Georgia. Sarah.
All right, Sarah Murray, thank you for all of that. I appreciate it. John?
And just a reminder, Sarah, these were the election results in Georgia in 2020. This was the margin between the two candidates.
Wait, was it 11,799? Stop. Don't tell me it was 11,799. Why do I know that number? Why does that number... Why does it... It's such a specific number. Why am I remembering that? Wait, what's one more from 11,779? What is a number that's one more than 11,779 votes? Oh, that's right, 11,780 votes. If only someone was stupid enough. If only someone was stupid enough to be on a fucking recorded phone call asking specifically the Secretary of State that he needs 11,780 votes in the state of Georgia. And then followed it up by just one more than we have right now, implying that you already understand how many votes that you do have. If only there was a perfectly captured moment in time that we all publicly knew about. Like, someone, Little Bear, please find the first time I heard this being covered in the news. I believe it was around January 6th, if not literally on January 6th, where I lost my mind. We have known about this for years. One of the most shocking parts about this was that it wasn't like immediately, in my opinion, criminally prosecuted. And I thought I was wrong, I guess. When I heard this for the very first time, I lost my mind. Lil Bear, the question was, when is the first time I heard the perfect phone call? I believe it was literally on January 6th, if not around that time where I lost my mind. The first time I heard Donald Trump describe to Brad Roethlisberger that he needs 11,780 votes in his perfect phone call.
Joe Biden won by 11,779 votes. That was the number that Donald Trump called Brad Raffensperger and said, find me more votes than that. This trial is taking place, or this grand jury, these hearings are taking place in Fulton County. That is where Atlanta is. And very briefly, Sarah.
Is this it? Wait, why'd you link this, but not like the halfway there and like, oh, actual moment? All right, let's continue.
Murray mentioned Coffee County.
That's why my fucking YouTube videos are fire. There's just all the little breaths are cut out of it. It's so good.
That's all the way down.
I will watch my YouTube videos sometimes and will go, damn, I fucking cooked on this.
Down here in the southern part of the state, you can see Donald Trump won that with nearly 70% of the vote. There's just over 15,000 voters in that county, but it was in that county there now appears to be these evidence, text messages and emails between Trump campaign officials and officials in this county talking about seizing and cracking open the voting machines there. All right, with us now to talk about all this is CNN contributor John Dean, former Nixon White House counsel. John, if we can, I want to start in Fulton County, where former Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan is going to testify tomorrow, and we
love getting a Nixon guy on this.
just saw that social media post from Donald Trump. I'll read you the beginning again. I'm reading reports that failed former Lieutenant Governor of Georgia Jeff Duncan will be testifying before the Fulton County grand jury. He shouldn't. He then goes on to say, I barely know him, but he was, right from the beginning of this witch hunt, a nasty disaster for those looking into the election fraud that took place in Georgia, et cetera, et cetera. You have the potential defendant in here talking about a witness testifying, saying he shouldn't. What are the potential problems there, John?
Well, that's not very smart. It's witness tampering pretty blatantly. He's trying to send a message to Duncan to withhold or whatever. Trump is he just doesn't seem to be able to help himself. He's under protective orders elsewhere in New York and now in D.C. He knows better, but he just doesn't seem to be able to behave. And I don't know what a judge will do in Georgia when this actually, if the indictment comes down and he finds himself in front of a judge.
You know, you were talking about this is happening in Georgia right now. In Washington, D.C., right here, John, there is the federal case against Donald Trump where Judge Tanya Chutkan has warned Donald Trump about his social media messages. What role, if any, will these messages directed?
What happens if Donald Trump is found in contempt of court, both by the two separate federal court cases, and let's say Georgia? Like, do they fight over him? Like, is there like a custody battle? It's like that classic scene when a crime happens and like the local sheriff is like, at the scene of the crime, and then two guys show up in an unmarked car, get out, and they're like, it's FBI. This is our jurisdiction now. This case just made federal. And then the sheriff's like, oh, fuck. Like, is that what's going to happen? You know what I mean? And they're like, sheriff takes his glasses off and goes, God damn it. The FBI's here. This is my crime scene. Mulder, this is my goddamn crime scene. You keep your grubby hands off of this. And then they're like, no, this is now a federal case. We don't want your podunk hick ass ruining this investigation. Good. Danish Hollywood watcher HasanAbi. I mean, I'm just, it's like that. Federal always supersedes state, but he could get back-to-back sentences. Anyway.
At Georgia, witnesses have maybe in the federal case.
They'll have no effect because the D.C. judge, she has no jurisdiction over what's happening in Georgia, but it will not go unnoticed by her. He has been somewhat restrained in D.C. Apparently yesterday, the only thing I happen to notice is he reposted a picture and a critical remark of the D.C. judge. And whether she'll react to that or not, I don't know. It's not as he's trying to play a game and see how close to the line he can get and how he can send harassment without actually being a harasser, if you will.
Sarah Murray and others are reporting that in Coffee County, Georgia, that Fani Willis, the Fulton County DA, has in her possession text messages and emails between Trump campaign officials or people associated with the Trump campaign.
You said, no, brother, I'm a constitutional sheriff. Fun fact, all sheriffs are constitutional sheriffs.
And officials in this county talking about getting access to the voting machine. These are receipts. What role could these texts and emails play in this trial, John?
Documents always play a big role. They are not impeachable. They say what they say. They can't be cross-examined, and they have a big impact on juries. And when there's jury polling later or juries discuss what influenced them, it's often the documents that have the biggest impact on them, because they can, really no credibility issue with a document. A document is a document. So that is a powerful piece of evidence.
All right, John Dean, Counselor, always great to see you. Thank you so much for your help today. Kate?
So security is tight right now around that courthouse we're talking so much about. As new potential charges loom for weeks, concerns over safety have been paramount, as the DA herself has been the target of threats and attacks including from Donald Trump, who's called Willis racist and also called her investigation corrupt. CNN's Nick Valencia tracking this for us. He's joining us now. Nick, what are you seeing there? There's a lot of activity at that courthouse today.
There is. Actually, just in the last several minutes, there's been an uptick in activity, Kate, but we want to be very clear, this is unrelated to the former president. I will show you what's going on here. Just in the last several minutes, about 20 to 30 protesters showed up. There's a whole other separate issue going on in the city right now with a police fire and training facility. Those individuals who are protesting the building of that facility have used this scene and this atmosphere outside in front of the Fulton County Courthouse to bring their own issues. The main headline, though, today, as it relates to the Fulton County investigation and the efforts by Trump.
I like how they're just like never going to mention Stop Cop City. Like they are doing such a good job of just straight up avoiding the top of the hour ad break, and on top of that avoiding saying Stop Cop City. Like you would think these guys are just there because they hate when police get trained. They're just like, it seems like these people hate the top of the hour ad break, which comes at the top of every hour. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. I found it, lol, and you were off camera.
It's great. He's trying so fucking hard, dude. We won the state. He's trying so fucking hard, dude. It's great. This is great.
Brad, what are we going to do? We won the election, and it's not fair to take it away from us like this. And it's going to be very costly in many ways. And I think you have to, but re-examine it with people.
Folks, at this stage, they have done 3 recounts. One of them was literally a hand-counted recount. Georgia, unlike other states, literally has a paper printout of every single ballot that was cast. And they had humans count all of it, like not just machines. They did 2 recounts with machines, and then.
Wait, is this from that same day? Oh, I guess I get back to it later. Okay, I forgot where I was. What was I doing? Oh, I was running the top of the hour ad break. Of course, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you could do for $5 or for free with Twitch Prime. Here's the streaming ad right now. All right, yeah, they're avoiding talking about Stop Cop City.
Trump and his allies to overturn the 2020 election is that there is no credible security threat here outside of the courthouse. We have seen some dramatic increase, though, in security preparations over the course of the last several weeks. What am I talking about here? These metal barricades, these plastic barriers. We're seeing more a heavier presence of sheriff's deputies with long guns and tactical gear. Law enforcement sources tell us there's a lot of things that we don't see happening. We can only assume that means snipers on the rooftops and other security measures that are in place here to make sure that nothing happens. There's a lot of legitimate concern about things going down here, if only because of the lax gun laws, if only because of the large contingent of Trump supporters, and he has encouraged them to take to the streets and use really explosive rhetoric, calling this investigation.
You linked the exact timestamp, but I'm not actually listening to it. Like, what do you mean? So I don't respond to it. Why do you want me to watch it?
Investigation politically motivated, calling Fani Willis, the district attorney.
No, I asked when I first heard it, little bear.
Racist. All of that has led to credible threats against the safety of Fani Willis. She's had to change her security detail We're now seeing the security preparations here. This main street in front of the courthouse has been closed down.
Good comedians will make you laugh.
There is still foot traffic in anticipation as the grand jury hears evidence against Trump, and we wait for Trump's potential fourth arrest and indictment. Kate?